Would our student panel please join me? As I indicated, we are excited that you have taken the time to join us today and get acquainted with our students, our programs, and our campus. Some of the best insight you can get from a university comes from the students themselves. So today's program is designed to answer your questions about student life. And inside your packets are index cards, and actually I have some here. If you would take your index card out of your packet, I've had a few people stop by and give me some cards. Please take time to write down a question. We have monitors. Would our monitors raise their hands? We've got them all throughout. We've got Mary Jo. There's Tracy. There's two Tracys, Emma, Tim, and Brenda. So if you have a question, write it down. Raise up your card. Jane, all right, come on out. We're going to get some questions. Please, if you have, just raise your card up so we can collect them. And we will start asking our student panel. But before we get started, I would like each one of our panelists to introduce themselves with their name, their class level, their major, their hometown, and could you please tell us something you love about UC Davis? Marcus, you want to start?
All right. Okay, my name is Marcus King. I'm a fourth year. I'm a senior this year, transfer student. I'm a psychology and communication double major, African-American studies minor. One thing I love about UC Davis is it's tucked away, but it's not too far away from the city. So it's a pretty nice balance.
Do I go? Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to UC Davis. My name is Nandi, and I'm a third-year student here. I'm majoring in NPB, which stands for Neurobiology, Physiology, and Behavior, possibly doubling or minoring with French. I'm from San Jose, California, and my favorite thing about UC Davis is I'm really into food. So downtown has like a bunch of different restaurants, and we have this like hit list at our house, and we're going to hit all of them before we graduate, so keeps me busy.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I am a second year here at UC Davis. I'm a biological sciences major and from San Jose, California. And my favorite part about UC Davis is the bike culture, because I really like how we use bikes to get from place to place. I actually feel kind of guilty when I go home and I drive my car everywhere. So I kind of wish I had two bikes to bike around at home too. But I love the bike culture here, and it's really easy to get everywhere in downtown and around town in Davis.
Hi, my name is Matthew McCullough, and I'm a third year here at UC Davis. I'm studying mechanical and aerospace engineering. I'm originally from Hollister, California, and something I really love about Davis is the community feel that you get while you're here at school.
Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay. I'm a second year environmental toxicology major, minoring in statistics. I'm originally from Danville, California, and I'm a second year. And the thing I love most about Davis is the banda. You guys already saw them up here earlier. I play the flute in the band, so it's a lot of fun, and we play all around campus and downtown.
And last but not least, it would be I. My name is Galvin Messibe. I'm a third year here at UC Davis, and I'm a psychology major with a breadth in dramatic arts. A lot of you don't know what a breadth is, and I won't go ahead and explain that. Most of you won't need to worry about what that is. As far as what I love about the campus, I would say that it's the sights that you see. So every day when I wake up in the morning, because I'm originally from Tennessee, so I just have this, this wilderness side to me. So just like seeing the trees and I just get this imagination. Oh, well, we don't need to go into that either.
All right, thank you very much. So a couple of folks have handed me cards on their way in when I had the opportunity to meet and greet. So we're going to start off with this one. Okay, I applied to a major, but I'm not quite sure I want to stick with that major. How difficult is it to change your major?
Okay, great question. I was undeclared my whole freshman year, and once I did declare a major, I actually have already switched twice. So it is super easy to switch your major. All you need are 4 signatures. It took me about 20 minutes. You just bike to the different departments that you're switching into. And yeah, it's really easy. And I think most people switch their average student switches their major like 2 times. So.
It depends. Like if you were going for engineering and then you want to go for, MPB or something, it's not going to be an easy switch. There's a lot of options though that a lot of people don't know about. If you have a certain degree that you want to get, you don't see one particular program that covers that. If you go to 2 different programs to get them to approve you, you can actually make up your own major. So you have more options than you actually think you do. Even though we offer over 100 majors, you could actually make up your own. So I think that's pretty cool. It wasn't too hard for me. I came in just being a psychology major, and I wanted to do communication. Double major, it took me maybe 10 minutes worth of legwork to go make that happen. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, and just a last comment. What happens is in your first 2 years, you're actually mostly taking GEs. So you are, in a sense, on your path to the major, but it's just so easy to change a major and change your idea for a major just because you're just so broad in your first 2 years. And then once you get into your 3rd and 4th year, it's still possible for you to change. Yeah.
All right. Sort of along the same lines as majors, can you double major? Can you major minor? And how difficult is it?
I'm going to talk a little bit about that because the 2 subjects that I'm interested in are so far apart. I'm actually switching my major probably this year to a minor, but I'm doing like a science major and a humanities minor, and I think it's been pretty manageable just because being able to take classes in something else that you're interested in, that you want to, double major in or minor in, is kind of a nice break in your schedule from whatever classes you're taking all the time. So it's I take all these science classes, but I also get to take classes in writing and poetry and phonetics and all of this kind of fun stuff, and some of those classes also do fulfill your breadth requirements as well, so you're kind of getting 2 things out of the way with a major and minor, which is kind of neat.
I'll just talk a little bit more about that. You need 180 units to graduate, but most majors are far less than that. So as long as you have less units than that, you can very easily double major and minor as well. I know most of my friends are double majoring or minoring in at least something.
So I said I'm a double major in mechanical and aerospace engineer. These 2 programs are very similar. The unit cap for the double major that I'm taking is 193 units, so it's a little bit more than the minimum required to graduate, but it's definitely something that's very feasible. Within the program of engineering, there are multiple different combinations of double majors that you can choose from, so that is an option as well.
And another sidebar to that is we have some great counselors here at UC Davis. I myself work with the academic counselor, Laura Goldhammer. Sorry if I messed up her name, she's here. And so what we do is every time I have a meeting with her, we kind of go over our 4-year plan or 5-year plan every single time, and every time I seem to change my mind, which seems to be every meeting, we just kind of go over where we've been, what classes we've taken. With certain majors, you usually do double major in certain majors, and certain majors you usually just have one, or you is a required minor. But at the same time, you always have someone that you can work with when you change your mind, or from the beginning if you are more steadfast in, your decisions to go all the way through.
Sort of, again, going along that same pathway, are there academic and student support services that I can get that can help me?
Yeah, there are. So we have a building called Dutton Hall. And so Dutton Hall has the Student Academic Success Center. So they have free workshops for physics, chemistry, math, statistics, and they also have people who can read your essays for English classes and make sure you're writing on topic. And so actually, for the general chemistry series that I took last year, I went to all the workshops, and it was really helpful. It's entirely free. It's kind of like a second lecture, but it just reinforces everything that you've already learned in lecture from your professor from another point of view. So maybe if I didn't understand something in one of my original lectures with the professor, the workshop instructor helped me see it in a different light. So the workshops here are really helpful, and it really helps you gain some experience in the material, and it lets you understand everything really well.
On top of that, professors and your teaching assistants always have office hours, and that's a really great way to talk with them one-on-one about questions you may have in the class, or you can even just go and talk to the professor about their research, things they're doing, but that's really great. It's completely free, and they have designated times to spend specifically on your questions. So I've definitely been to a lot of office hours, and that's really helpful as well.
And also outside of office hours and different programs, we also have listservs, so you can go ahead and email all the students in your class saying, let's get a study group together. And that's something I've always found myself taking advantage of. You seem to always find a new friend that could potentially be a future connection to go ahead and work with and tell your jokes to. Hopefully they'll be polite and laugh. And yeah, so that's another great opportunity.
Additionally, professional fraternities and sororities, different student groups on campus do offer tutoring session for professionals exams. For instance, engineers have to take what's called the EIT, which is the Engineering and Training Exam. And Theta Tau does provide tutoring sessions for these exams. So another option.
Thank you. Okay, I keep hearing all these horror stories with budget cuts and everything. How hard is it to get your classes?
It actually hasn't been difficult for me. However, if you want to do, like, say you want to double major in something, then if it's not in your major, you have to wait for the second pass to sign up. There's a lot of things you can take advantage of on campus, like coming up pretty soon, we'll be registering for summer session. If you want to get into a class that's usually like kind of full, there's no pass one, pass two time. Once it's open to everybody to sign up. So some of your hardest classes to get into, you can take advantage of doing in the summer, and if you really don't like the class, it's over like that. So, and it hasn't been particularly difficult for me to get into classes. There are waiting lists for the courses. Going to talk to the professor and actually showing up on the first day does help you out. Some students just think they don't have a shot to get into class, and that's not always the case.
In my experience, I find that this is something different from student to student. Personally, for me, I also haven't really had any issues as far as registrations are concerned. Coming in as a freshman, I actually had party registration. So if there are any athletes in the room or anybody that's planning on doing the STEP program or other various programs on campus that do provide party registrations, you really won't have any issues for the whole time that you're here. At the same time, what we do is it's in a hierarchical system where the seniors usually go first, and juniors and sophomores and freshmen. And usually that works just because the seniors have a lower amount of classes that they're going to take, and the freshmen have a more broad amount of classes they're going to take. So the system that we have here just ends up working out really well. So getting your classes isn't something you need to necessarily worry about. The only things that you'd probably be worrying about would just be, getting it at the exact time, like if you're not a morning person, or having to take the class maybe in winter quarter instead of fall quarter, but you will get all the classes that you need.
All right. How many of your classes are really large, and what proportion of your classes are small? I hear that there's classes that can be very large, as much as 300 plus.
I actually have one class where I think it's maybe 312 of us, I don't know, 300 something. But then again, it's what you make of it. If you sit in the back of a 300-person classroom, you'll feel like it's 400 or 500 people in that class. If you sit in the front of a 300-person classroom, it feels like it's maybe 20 or 30 people in the room with you. I always sit in the front, especially in a huge class like that. I don't sit in the back. Like, if you fall asleep, somebody will tell you, hey, you were falling asleep. Like, well, you didn't sleep last night? Like, it gives you some incentive to, oh, man, I got to stay awake and I got to pay attention. What am I doing? Okay. So, like, it's really what you make of it. I have one class that's kind of large like that. The rest of my classes are like maybe 20, 30 people in two other classes, and then there's maybe 50 of us in my other class. So.
Yeah, I found that. Hello?
Okay, the speakers now. Try another one. Is there
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. A lot of times the very general classes that a lot of people need to take, like intro to chemistry or intro to biology, those can be pretty large, but you do break out into individual discussion sections with about 20 people and a TA. So that's a great way to get any questions answered. They also have office hours, like I mentioned. And even when you're in a big lecture hall, professors always love it when you ask questions. So I've never found that it's really a problem. And a lot of other classes can be a lot smaller. So for example, I'm in a medieval studies class this quarter, and there's only 20 people in that. So it just depends on the class, but there's always opportunities to get one-on-one attention.
In addition, just because a lot of public universities do have really large classes, like he was saying, it is really kind of what you make of it. If you do want to go in and like go into your TAs or your professor's office hours every week, it is still possible to form like a one-on-one connection. It's definitely not going to be as easy as it was in high school, where it's kind of forced on you just because you have smaller classes, but it is, I don't know, it's like if you take that first step, it is still possible to like be able to have a professor recognize you by name and face and, you know, call on you by name in lecture halls and stuff. So.
And I add something else to that too. A lot of people in the room, y'all want to go to grad school, right? There's a lot of people who want to go on after this, right? Grad school, medical school, whatever, right? If your professor like actually knows you from being involved and actually taking the time to ask questions, taking the time to take advantage of office hours, and not like when you get in trouble using office hours, I mean like going just to go like say, hey, what's up? Like that works. When you go for a letter of recommendation, it's not going to be some bland thing that's as general as it can be. It's going to be something that actually speaks well for you. So it only works to your advantage to go.
Yeah, and I just have another piggyback for that. At this point, when you get into college, it turns into more of a strategic relationship forming with your professors, because honestly, at the end of the quarter, you might never see that professor again. So, you know, it's just figuring out which professors kind of fit more into your major or maybe know something that could help you out and potentially in your career, and kind of keeping the relationships with them, maybe checking in with them as far as like becoming better familiar with the material. But at this point, as far as the grading is concerned, like they grade based off our student ID. So going to office hours doesn't necessarily make your grade higher unless you're writing a paper. So it's just at this point, it just becomes strategic in what do you want to gain from the teacher and how much of that relationship do you want to be there.
Okay. I'm interested in either research or some kind of internship. Can you share your experience and how easy is it to get involved in research or obtain an internship?
That's actually one of my favorite parts. Sorry, I just jumped in. But that's actually one of my favorite parts of Davis is it is super, super easy to be able to find an internship or, like a research position with someone, especially if you are like planning on being pre-health or something. I actually got involved with research at the beginning of my sophomore year just by sending out emails to I think like 15 professors, and I got responses from at least 6 or 7, which is a pretty good response ratio. So you also always have the opportunities for that. You can just like look through our websites, look through professors, see what they're involved in, and just like email them and see what happens. In addition, we also have our ICC, the Internship and Career Center, and they place I think like 5,000 to 6,000 students in these internships every year. So once again, I'm just going to talk a lot about pre-health stuff because I'm a big nerd about that. But if you are interested in volunteering, for example, at our med center, they have all these opportunities where you can work in like their emergency rooms, in their pediatrics department, their cardiovascular department and stuff. So there is stuff that you can do through our school, and then once again, it's super easy to just get involved. If you like even have a professor for one of your classes and you really enjoyed that subject, you can always go up to them after the end of the class and ask if you can get involved in their labs. So there's a lot of really cool work going on here in just a ton of different fields.
Kind of to add to that, within the College of Engineering, I know that there's a lot of professors, especially in mechanical and material science, that are always looking for undergraduates to participate in their research opportunities. I have a few friends of mine in my classes who are participating in the research group for a couple years now, and they really enjoyed it. It gave them a lot of experience within research as an undergraduate, which is a very nice thing here about Davis. So.
Okay. I'm interested in studying abroad. Have any of you had the experience in studying abroad or know of someone who has? And can you share that experience?
Hey, studying abroad. I actually have a lot of friends that are going to go study abroad for this summer even. And one of my friends just yesterday was trying to get me to go to Ghana with her because she didn't want to go by herself. But studying abroad is just an excellent opportunity for a college student. It's a little bit cheaper as if you were to wait till you were an adult to just take a vacation, and you get to use it as an excuse to actually get some school credits and pick up another language and to get exposed to a different culture you may have never gotten or will ever get an opportunity to be exposed to. I'm not too familiar with all the places you can go because I've never done it myself, but from hearing from all my friends, I know that it's a great opportunity through third party.
I know that Davis has the most diverse offering of places where you can go out of any of the UCs. I think we have either 40 or 60 places worldwide where you can study. And you can go for a quarter, a semester, a whole year, or just a summer. So it's definitely really easy to make a personal plan that will apply to you.
Yeah, my roommate actually went to London this past summer, and she had such a great experience studying Shakespeare literature, actually, in London with about 20 other students that were UC Davis students, and some of them also were other UC students. So the summer abroad programs and some of the programs that we have for studying abroad, you can do it with UC Davis students or with other UC students, or other college students too can apply too. But she had such a great experience. She actually works at the Education Abroad Center now because she loves just working with the people, or meeting everyone there. And so she had a really great experience. I really encourage everyone to study abroad. I'm trying to study abroad in France, but I haven't found a program that I really want to do yet. But I really recommend it because all I've heard are good things.
Sorry, I just want to butt in with my last thing. I was in Paris this past summer with Education Abroad, and it was fantastic. And I don't want to reiterate what everyone just said because it's all super true, but I did want to add that some of our programs also have internships built into it. So not only while you're abroad can you be taking classes, but for example, there's a program in Oaxaca, I think, in Mexico, where it's like a built-in, once again, medical internship, and you would also be taking classes towards your major. So it is super cool. It's just like getting to be abroad with a bunch of your friends, and you know, it's justified because you're actually doing stuff and not just like sitting around. So you can tell that to your parents.
Quote unquote.
How difficult was it to transition from a semester system to a quarter, and how many classes do you take per quarter?
Oh, I can definitely speak on this one. I was an idiot my first quarter here. I took 18 units thinking I got this, man. You know, I've done like over 28 and a half on a semester system. This is nothing. That's not the case here. You want to take enough to be full-time. You're supposed to take what an average of 13 per quarter would give you, like 39 units a year. Make sure that you put one fun class in there. If you're thinking of minoring in something, throw that in there somewhere. You really only need to do like the bare minimum for full-time, like the 12 units, and then you do like maybe 14 or 16 units another quarter, and you do 12 units in the spring quarter. You can do that. There's no reason why you have to bulk on all these classes. You don't pay by unit here. So you may as well take your time, actually get through the material, and actually, you know, pace yourself. I didn't do that my first quarter. And it's a beautiful thing when you come in and you have a nice GPA to look at and you have something to maintain, as opposed to weighting your GPA with grades that aren't really what you wanted and having to dig yourself out of a hole. So you don't need to don't think about doing 16, 20 units a quarter. That's not necessary, and you'll be pissed off when you see your grades at the end of the quarter.
On average, I've been taking 15 units per quarter, which is about usually 4 classes. So each class, it ranges from 3 to 5 units, unless you take a seminar or a smaller like discussion class, which is 1 to 2 units. So I know that general chemistry is 5 units because there's a lab in there too. So just depending on what classes you're taking and if it has a lab and how many units it has, you may end up only taking 3 classes for 13 units, and that's totally fine. You don't have any pressure to take 5 classes, or I don't know, 6 classes would be crazy. But I know in high school I took 6 classes every single year. And it was kind of weird for me to go from 6 classes to 4 classes, but you're in college now, and you don't have class every single day. For most of the classes, you have it every other day. And that's a really big difference from high school too. But going from 6 classes to 4 classes was actually kind of relieving. And since you're in college, you're studying more. You actually study. I've studied a lot more than I did in high school, just because you're in college and the material is more difficult, and the lectures are actually longer than high school sometimes too. So it doesn't really matter how many classes you're taking as long as you have the amount of units that you have to take. So if you take 3 classes, that's totally fine. I know some people who think, oh, well, I'm only taking 3 classes and that's only 13 units. Well, 13 units is good. You want to take 13 units, and you can take 12 units too. So it doesn't matter how many, you shouldn't feel pressured to have 15 or 16 or 17 units if that will make an impact on your GPA, because I think it would be better if you have 3 classes and a higher GPA than 4 classes where you do not so well in.
Actually, I'll tack something else on that. There were questions about internships, and you actually get credit for internships that you do. So like me, I do one internship in the psych lab, and so I actually get a certain amount of units for that. So there's no need for me to take additional units to like make the amount of units that I want to make. So make sure that you take the extra time. Like if you only take 3 classes, you got 12 units, that's great. Reach out to a professor. If they're doing anything that sounds remotely like something you might be interested in, go ahead and see if you can get in on some research with them. If you only do one unit of research with them, then you're doing like, what's that, 3 hours a week? So, you know, it's make your time work for you, not the other way around.
Yeah, I just wanted to, once again, make the final comment. As far as classes are concerned, we don't mean to scare you at all, like, oh, 17 units, don't do it, 18 units, you're a fool. But this is one of those questions that are by individual basis. I mean, some people want to get out of college a little bit faster. Some people, it's their senior year. Some people want to just stretch on the experience. They have a scholarship. You know, different things kind of contribute into it. So this is something that you'll end up learning as a college student once you get here. What is your capacity? How much you're willing to study during the week? How many hours you're going to be in the library, which has some type of correlation with how many hours you will sleep in the library. So it's something that will be dependent on your own personalities and your own, your own goals.
And how quick you'd adapt to the quarter system. Sorry, final comment. But it is just kind of, I think that's the biggest thing about college, is the reason that people are like, whoa, you're only taking 4 classes, is, well, yeah, because in college, because you're on this quarter system now, it's just like you have a midterm one week and then you don't have a break because you have a midterm the next week. And once again, that's not meant to like intimidate anyone, but I think that is one of the funner things about college, is you get a fresh start just more often, because you just like are always doing things. The quarters pass so fast once you get here because you're just always busy and you're always doing fun things.
Well, we focused on the academics, the class, the units. What do you do for fun? And how do you balance fun with studying?
That's a great question. There are a lot of ways to have fun in Davis. There's a bunch of different clubs you can join. Personally, I'm in the band, like I said. I found that it's pretty manageable to balance study time and fun time, just because you do only go to class about 3 to 4 hours a day. So as long as you set aside some time to study, there's plenty of time left in the day to do fun activities. Yeah.
So I'll touch a little bit. I'm in a fraternity, and it's one of the best experiences I've had here at Davis as far as fun. I feel like it provides a lot of balance to my college life. I have a very hard educational experience here in my engineering, but I enjoy it. And then I also have my fraternity to kind of balance it out and give me that fun side where I can kind of go and relax and enjoy the fun sides of college life. So.
I actually live in Sacramento and commute here every day. And it works out well for me because, you know, if I want to get out to the city, like, I like being around people. I like being around a lot of people. And so I grew up in LA, and I'm just used to city life. And so you're not tucked too far away. You can get to the Bay Area pretty quickly. Sacramento's like 20 minutes away. There's all kind of stuff to do out there. And then here, it really is like a college town experience. You know, if you're on Facebook and you check in somewhere, like, you'll see, oh, what, they're there too? Oh, no, I'm right across the street, you know. So that's pretty cool. Like, if I was in a big city going somewhere, I'd be like, oh, that's like 15 miles away. I'm not going there, you know, and it's kind of cool. So you run into each other, and then, of course, you're going to get asked, hey, how'd you do on that midterm? So it kind of helps, you know, keep you on point as well.
All right, everybody, please go ahead and pull out a pen and paper, because I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know the 5 secrets for every college student to have fun while they're here at UC Davis. Secret number 1. No, I'm just kidding, but you'll find that you kind of make your own fun. I mean, some students convince themselves that doing the schoolwork and reading their psychology books is really fun, and so every day they wake up and live, they're just having a good old time. Once again, just kidding. This weekend, actually next weekend, I'm going to go on a hike with one of my program Guardian Scholars. And so a couple of us are just going to, I'm not sure where we're going. I didn't look too much into the logistics because I was reading my psychology book. Yeah, so it's just when you're here as a student, you'll just find things to entertain yourself, or obviously you'll find your own group of friends, likely in your classes or in your major. There's plenty of things to do within the city. I mean, most of the time you're not going to sit there and stare at a wall saying, "I wish someone would come and bring the fun to me." I mean, the fact that you're getting to college, you have your own creative mind. That being said, there was one thing I wanted to add about the quarter system. I think the main difference between semester and the quarter system are just the skills that you need in order to get out. I mean, just the time management skills, the responsibility, and finishing your work and doing it beforehand, because doing that paper the night before, like we all did in high school, isn't the best idea. So just the skills I feel like taking out are just the main difference. Other than that, personally, from my own opinion, I don't think there's too much of a difference between the quarter semester system. A little bit more stress in the quarter system, but I feel like you're just a more well-rounded, versatile thinker and achiever, I guess.
And also, to go off what he said, so college is what you make of it. He said if you're sitting in your dorm room looking at the wall, that's not going to be very fun. But as Nandy said, there are great restaurants downtown. So I'm a second year, and last year I lived in the dorms, and I was thinking, well, what am I supposed to do when I'm not going to classes? I mean, I guess I could talk to my roommate, talk to the people across the hall, but what do I do? Well, you also have your resident advisors, also known as RAs, and so they put on programs at least once a month to engage the community, so engage the people in your hall or on your floor or however big your living area is. And so the RAs put on programs. I remember my RAs last year. We had one of the RA's boyfriends had a Wii, and so he brought it in twice one quarter, and we just had so much fun. We were playing Wii for at least 4 or 5 hours. I was really sore the next day. And so the RAs really, if you're living in the dorms, the RAs really try to engage you guys and make the transition from going to high school to college really easy and manageable. And also we have our Memorial Union games area, which has a bowling alley, and that's a lot of fun. It's relatively cheap, especially because they know that we're students, so they keep that in mind. And downtown is just an adventure. There's so many different kinds of foods. There are a bunch of little shops in there that are just really interesting to see what they're selling. And there's also the farmers market downtown every Saturday and Wednesday, and so it's great to go get produce or just see some people and meet people downtown. And so people think that there isn't a lot to do in Davis, but there are things if you look for them. If you sit there and you don't really try to find anything, then you probably won't have any fun. But if you look for something to do and you actually engage yourself and try to get into things and all the different clubs here on campus, then you definitely will have a really great experience.
There's also 2 movie theaters downtown.
There's actually... Oh.
No, I was just wondering what she said, but I heard it.
Okay. There's a club for just about every single thing, believe it or not. And then there's some clubs that specifically are for snowboarding and stuff like that. Like Lake Tahoe is really not that far away. If you don't play sports, you can still play sports because we have intramurals. We have the Arc as well, which is right behind you, the big gym right here. I've worked out there until midnight, which is really, really convenient because I'm not that great about getting up in the morning, coming to work out, then going to shower, then coming back and going to class. That's just too much. So it's real convenient here, and we have a rock climbing wall. There's all kind of activities here. You can play ball here. There's ultimate frisbee, and like I said, there's clubs for almost every single thing you wouldn't even think of. So.
And another thing. This is the point where it kind of gets real. To be honest, no matter where you go as a university, at some point you're going to get bored with it. To be honest, high school students transitioning to your freshman year, you're going to get bored at some point. It happens to all of us at this table. We can attest. The thing is just looking and seeing, is everything in this city that you need? Do you enjoy the sights? Does your school have a good reputation for when you're trying to get jobs after you graduate? Is the community good? These are the different factors that you look at, because as far as fun is concerned, at some point you're going to get bored, and at every point you're going to be there's nothing to do in my city. Whether you're in a big city like LA or a small city like Merced, you're going to get bored. And so it's just getting to the point where you look at the bigger picture and then going out and finding the things within whichever you chose, whichever city, whichever college you chose.
All right. This one's about transportation and multi-question. How do you get around the campus? How do you get around the Davis community? And then what if I need to travel, like to LA or the Bay Area? How can I get around? And is the transportation free?
Actually, there's one service that's like $5, I believe, to go to Berkeley, to catch a bus from here to UC Berkeley, which is a cheap way to get away to the Bay real quick. There's also buses go everywhere in town. There's no place that you need to go in the city of Davis where a bus doesn't go there. I live in Sacramento. I actually had been without my car last quarter, and it was 2 buses to get to my house, and I live like in East Sacramento. So that was very convenient. And then you also ride the bus that goes to Sacramento from here that picks you right up at the MU. That's free for you as well with your student ID, as well as all the buses in town, the UC Davis bus. So, I mean, the Davis Unitrans. So you can't beat that.
Biking is also like super popular. If you haven't noticed, there's a ton of bikes on campus. There's over 60 miles of bike path all throughout the city, all throughout campus. You definitely don't need a car. It's super flat here, so you don't need to worry about going up hills on your bike. So yeah, that's really easy. And the bus system, like you said, we also have a train station downtown, so that's really convenient as well. And there's a Sacramento airport, and there's a bus that can take you to that in about 20 minutes, and that's free.
This question goes to honors programs. Have any of you participated in an honors program? And if so, can you share your experience, or do you know of someone that's participated? And how do you go about getting into an honors program?
So I think there are 2 honors programs. There's integrated studies that just like incidentally all of my roommates are in. And integrated studies is something that you get selected for by the university when you become an admitted student. And I think that at least my freshman year, they all like lived in a building together in one of the living areas in Segundo. They all took these like research seminars every quarter, and they had to take certain classes. And a lot of integrated studies students are also chosen as Regents Scholars, I guess. So there's another club like RSS that a lot of these integrated studies students take part in, and then they, I don't know, there's a bunch of different activities and stuff that they all do together. I'm not too familiar with it. And then there's also Davis Honors Challenge, which is something that you can sign up for yourself. And the benefits of Davis Honors Challenge is, once again, you get to partake in these research seminars every quarter. You also get priority registration. It looks good to be in it. You can sign up for it either your freshman or sophomore year and continue to be in it until you graduate. But it is closed off to register for after your second year. I think I covered all the bases.
And there will be at the Student Services and Activities Fair, there will be a table for both the Integrated Studies and Davis Honors Challenge program. This is about working. Have any of you had the experience of working with part-time? One, where do you go to get a job, and was it manageable?
That ICC website, like, you can find any kind of job on there. And there's tons of jobs. I work on campus, early academic outreach program. So what I do is I work with the SATI component, Sacramento Area Transfer Initiative. We go to different community colleges all over the greater Sacramento area, and we do workshops, team building exercises, things of that nature, to go ahead and make sure that we have students on path to transfer into a 4-year from the community colleges. And I love my job. Like, I wouldn't do anything else on campus. Like, I would not want to be driving a bus. That's just me. I drive enough already. But yeah, that you can also find on the ICC website as well. And juggling school, that's one thing. They want to work around your schedule when you work on campus. That's something you're not going to get from working downtown somewhere or working for some business that is not connected to the school. So it's very easy to actually manage that and your coursework.
Many of us on the panel today are actually tour guides. It's just a really nice schedule. It works perfectly for me. I'm an engineer. I don't have a whole lot of extra time, but it is nice to have a kind of a supplemental job for an income. So tour guide for me is perfect. It's like an hour and a half, like every other day. So that's the time commitment for me. I find that it's very manageable to do. Even with my course load, I take about 16 units every single quarter, so I'm always taking a full course load. And so even having a job, it's very manageable, and on-campus jobs are very easy to find. There's jobs all over campus. He said you could be a bus driver, as well as a tour guide, as well as a computer lab specialist, as well as a food preparation or supervisor. There's tons of positions for students all over campus, so it's very easy to find a job. And a lot of times they're very manageable because you can go straight right after class into your job, and it doesn't require a lot of extra like transportation effort or things like that. They fit into your schedule.
Another fun way of getting a job that a lot of students don't take advantage of is what you can do is, what I like to do is actually go to the person's workplace. I did that with tour guides and just kind of joke about having a job there. And if they like you, they'll probably will offer you a job. Yeah, so try that.
All right. Okay, what was the toughest adjustment for you going from high school to college? And then what would be the best piece of advice you could give to these newly admitted students that you would have liked to have known before you came here?
I think I would have liked to have known to get involved immediately with some sort of club or a small group. It can be a bit overwhelming. The campus is pretty big. Pretty much my only friends were in my dorm, and while that was really fun, I kind of wanted to branch out. So I was already in the band, but I started participating a lot more, and I made a ton of friends that way. So I definitely think it's important that you get involved some way on campus, and that way the big community feels a little bit smaller.
One thing actually that I wish I knew, if you're different, embrace that. Like, don't make yourself a loner. This is not the place and not the time to be a loner. Like, it doesn't work like that. You know, nobody does this alone. You're gonna have someone at some point that helps you. Be willing to go outside of your comfort zone and study with, you know, people that, you know, you probably don't think you have anything in common with. If you're just like me, then I really probably should not study with you, because we're just gonna start gossiping and talking, and we're not gonna get any work done. I wanna work with someone that, you know, seems to have a different perspective on the material. And then I'm sharing ideas they don't know, they're sharing ideas I don't know, we're looking at it from different ways, and I've always got way more out of study groups that way. So step outside of your comfort zone, definitely.
I think one thing I would have liked to know is, just like we were talking about earlier, the transition between semester and quarter, is I think a lot of freshmen, my brother's a freshman right now, and I know that what he struggled with the most fall quarter was just like knowing to keep up with schoolwork, because it is really easy to fall into this like month where you don't really have that much going on, especially freshman year, except for a couple midterms here and there, and then you just don't do anything, and then finals come around and you're like, whoa, what have I been doing all quarter? So that is definitely one thing to just kind of, I mean, it's not something that you can just like hear and just do. It is definitely something you're gonna have to practice over your freshman year, but it is definitely something to take into account, is to just like keep up with it, just study a few hours every day, and then you never feel like overwhelmed.
I wish I had learned self-control of food before I left for college. Davis has amazing food. Our dining commons, like our cafeterias, we call them DCs, are really great. And pretty much you go in there and you swipe your ID card and it's a buffet. And the freshman 15 really got me. And so I kind of wish I learned that when I was at home or in college. Just control what you eat, because I mean, I guess the freshman 15 is a myth. I know my friend, she's a freshman, and she's actually lost weight coming to Davis, and I'm like, how do you do that? The cookies here are delicious. So I wish I had known to control what I eat and what I consume.
All
right, so I'm going
okay.
Again. All right, so sidebar to piggyback on her, the freshman 15 is not a myth, and you should all beware. Secondly, one thing I wish I had known coming in as a student here is just having the right mindset. There were often times in high school where I just kind of believed in my own intellect and abilities that I didn't really need to study, and I could skate by with just the abilities that I'd gotten from birth innately. But really what it is about being in college, you come here and you learn how to think and how to work and how to be able to go out in the community, into the workforce, and be successful. So I had to kind of learn how to pursue my own greatness. I had to learn how to pursue my studies, to actually go and sacrifice time that I could have been sleeping, you know, or on YouTube, or picking my nose and actually opening up the book and reading it, or typing out my notes, and then everything. So and that goes out to work. So I don't have any money. what do I do? Sit here and, wait for, the money stork to drop money into my lap, or do I go and look for a job? Or, do I go and call my parents, or whatever it is? But you kind of learn how to pursue. It's the first time that you are on your own in your life. And it just kind of gets you a really good, it gives you that perspective, and it's easier having the perspective coming in than gaining it in your third year on how you should interact with your college environment.
All right. I think we got one final question we can ask. Why did you choose UC Davis if you were offered admission at other universities and colleges? What made you pick UC Davis?
I have a couple reasons. I didn't want to take calculus. For the same degree down at UC Santa Barbara, another school I was admitted to, I would have had to take calculus, and I didn't feel like taking it. That was one reason. I got a better financial aid package here, and actually, I didn't really think about UC Davis until I came and did a campus tour up here, and I really like the campus. I've been on UC Berkeley's campus, and I would not want to walk up and down hills like that all day long. That sucked. Again, I liked that it was really a tight-knit community. And I also like the fact that, I got a good deal to get a place in Sacramento, and it just worked out real well. It was like, hey, I'm not that far from the city, but it's not like there's a bunch of distractions right near campus. Like, it's a real, it feels comfy here. I mean, it's cool here. So this is where I chose. I would not get any work done at UC Santa Barbara, going to the beach all the time with my buddies and stuff. I lived in that area. It wasn't going to work. So this is actually a better fit for me.
I chose UC Davis not only for the internship opportunities that we have here. I'm in the process of getting an internship right now, and it was really easy to do, as Nandy had talked about with internships. But I also really like the community feel here. I mentioned that there's a farmer's market every week, and I don't know, the community is just really nice. The bike culture is great. I mean, I get 15 minutes of exercise before I go to class every day. So I feel really great about that. And Davis is just such a positive atmosphere. I'm really happy here. I'm only a second year, and I wouldn't choose this school over anything else.
When I came to school, I was really looking for a college experience. You kind of go to college, you really get to experiment on your own. So that's what I was really looking for. And when I saw Davis, I saw such a strong community downtown that I was like, okay, this is a college town. This is a place that I can come and stay. I personally don't go home too often, and Davis is a great place for that as well, because there's always things to find to do, and it's a very college-geared community as well as school. So that's something that I really enjoyed, because that was the experience that I was looking for in the college that I was looking for. So.
Yeah, I chose Davis just because I immediately felt comfortable when I stepped onto campus. People kind of have similar attitudes as me. They are friendly. People are really health conscious here. It's easygoing, laid back, and yeah, I just felt very comfortable walking around, and I felt like I could fit in really well.
Picking UC Davis. Hey! All right, so one thing happens to all UC Davis students, and I'm sure it already happened to you guys, is you guys get the Aggie dream. And so what happens in the Aggie dream is you go to sleep at night, and all the schools that accepted you, their mascots all of a sudden appear, and then Gunrock slays them all. And then you realize that UC Davis is where you need to be, and I'm sure you all already had that dream, you can confess. But on a sidebar, and other than that, I mean, just look at the place. I mean, you have just this great atmosphere. The birds are singing, they always do, just like the cartoons. There are people smiling around on their bikes, riding around. I mean, where else are you going to go other than Davis? I mean, to this day, I'm really happy that I chose here from all the places that did accept me. The Davis dream.
All right. I know that we weren't able to get to all your questions, but hopefully got to the majority of your questions. Remember, after this program, you can meet with our students at Ask an Aggie at the table at the Student Services and Activities Fair from 11:30 to 2. Please join me in thanking our students for sharing their experience and opinions, and thank you, too, for joining us. Have a terrific day, and be sure to talk to our students all over campus, because they would love to talk to you.
This is mine.
Yeah, these are ours. Mine was from Jordan.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I probably shouldn't say this, but But at times I get so scared when I think about the previous relationship we shared. It was awesome.